Upstairs Dave here. This is how I built a dual adjusting power supply for my HO slot cars. Put a reverse switch on each lane and then a ghost switch for shorting out the controllers. And then turn a lane into a ghost car. Here's the power supply and a reverse switch just kind of stuck on a board. There's how I wired up the reversing lane. It's just a polarity switching switch to reverse the polarity of the tracks that the cars run on. Here it is, kind of tidied up a little bit with some tape. You can see I have the Tyco power supply wired on there, and then I tried to think of an idea how to attach it to the table, but ended up just sort of screwing it on there. And that worked pretty good for one lane until I found this power switch, and then I wanted to use that. And then I thought, well, I should have 2 lanes, one power supply for each lane with an amp meter. So the first thing is I need more track because I need these power lane adapters. And I need to draw a picture. You can freeze that if you want to know how I did this. I only have 1 lane drawn here, and then you can assume that I duplicated the whole thing for the other lane. That's how the amp meter is wired in. It also does some other voltage and measurements. This is how I shorted out the controller to make 1 lane or 2 lanes into a ghost lane. So I started building a control panel out of plywood. I made a template, and the amp meter needed shunts, and these are little tables to put the shunts on. Put the shunts on these tables, but I didn't really like how this came out because the attachment points are too close, and those bolts go all the way through the front. So I made some mistakes here, and I started to get frustrated, and rather than keep going, I took a look at what I had and said it looks good, but I can definitely do better. And a friend of mine gave me some new material, and I decided to go ahead and start over with plexiglass. So this is the plexiglass. I have 2 pieces in case I screwed one of them up. Here's the shunts again. Made new tables, new little mounts for them, and here I am starting to fit everything onto the piece of plexiglass. Time to get the wiring ready, and there's going to be some time lapse here. This was really time consuming. I did 1 lane and then I did the other, and I'm just double checking all my wiring here. And this took a couple of days, a couple of weeks actually, because I only worked on it once in a while. And I sped it up as much as I could, but I'm pretty sure it's still pretty boring. I tried to make things as neat as I could, but I was relearning how to solder as I went. I ended up buying some new tools, so that was fun. I burned out 2 or 3 of these before my friend helped me learn the actual pinout of how they should be wired, because I wanted a switch that lighted up. That was the main thing to have here, is see this lights up, and that's pretty cool. Here I've finally taken apart my original power supply and put it onto the main board. So this is the only real control for the track right now. On the far left is the direction switch. On the far right is the ghost switch. And also on the right is the banana clips that will eventually become where a generic sort of controller could plug in. I went with a 2-wire controller, and I think in the next version of this I'll do a 3-wire. So I'm turning it all back off, checking everything to make sure the amp meters were the same as what the power supply said. They're close enough. So there's the final package. Now it's time to make a frame. That's not how you make a frame, but that looks a little better. And once I got that to fit, I decided to paint it, and then it took me a while to remember how long it takes paint to dry. Don't touch my stuff, and here we are testing it in real life for the first time. There it is in action with a ghost machine, and this is my friend, and he is racing the ghost car. I don't know which color he is. I assume that he is red, because blue has the built-in auto brake masking tape. Here I am at home again. Time to attach this thing to the slot car table. Everyone had to get involved in this, so another friend made these nice metal brackets to go with my black metal frame, and I'm going to screw them to the frame, and then I'm going to screw that to the table, and that's going to be really wobbly, and then we'll see about making that into something a little more sturdy. These are the brackets for the control panel. The one on the right here just gets attached directly to the table. I pre-drilled just about everything because I really didn't want to crack this at this point. It's all glued together. I don't have any real way of taking it apart. This is all made from recycled wood that I found in the scrap bins at my place of employment. So here I am attaching the other side, starboard side, and I see I had to add a little extra piece of wood there to make that so I could attach it to the flat ceiling of the table. One of the goals of this whole project was to be able to have adjustable power to each lane to make it more kid-friendly, so some little kids could race without flying off the track all the time, and also to make it so I could plug in any controller I wanted. Here I am just testing all the switches and everything, making sure it's all sturdy enough to live there where it is. That way I'd be able to race some AFX cars against some Tyco cars, each in their natural environment. And we'll finally find out who's best. Of course, to really do that, I'll have to buy another 140 feet of AFX track for a total of 280 feet. Which brings me to the next project, which is going to be some power taps to make this whole lengthy track system stay powered all the way through to a reasonable degree. At this point, everything pretty much works and is tested, except the track isn't prepared. To do this right, each power supply has to control a separate lane. And the easiest way to do that is to use two separate terminal tracks. Disable one lane on each of those terminal tracks. Here's the wrong way to do this. Here's the right way. The difference is that the wrong way will allow some voltage to leak from one lane to another. I did that incorrectly at first, and then I was a little more aggressive in my lack of understanding of electricity and managed to get it working. So I was pretty proud of how that went. Do it the right way. New power supply, new layout. Trying to, once again, maximize the amount of space I can actually use in this oddly shaped room. The back two lanes have been fully elevated to allow me to fit another two lanes directly underneath them without running into any support problems. And running some tests here with good old red car. I think we're looking pretty good. Both lanes look okay. Thanks for watching. Slot Cars with Upstairs Dave, and how I built my dual power supply for my HO slot cars that I keep upstairs by Upstairs Dave. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.